Okay, welcome to the Wednesday, May 29th, 2024 meeting of the Lenox Selectboard. It's our regular meeting. No announcements from the chair unless anybody has something they want to throw in. Acceptance of minutes of May 8th and May 15th.
So, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the minutes from May 8th and May 15th meetings of the Select Board.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, citizens open forum, and I don't see anybody here, so I guess we can skip right over that and move right into the consent agenda if you want to
Yes, thank you, Mr.
read
Chairman.
that, Dave.
The Lenox Library Association requests a one-day wine and malt license for July 13th, 3 to 5 p.m. A certified bartender will be present. Loretta Tanula requests a one-day wine and malt license for July 1st, 3 to 6 p.m. at Ventford Hall. Certified bartender will be present. Lenox Police Department seeks approval to accept a monetary donation. Lenox Fire Department seeks approval to accept a monetary donation. Ratify town manager's appointment of Catherine Phillips as new town treasurer and tax collector. Lilac Park use request for concerts in the park to be held on Wednesdays from June 26th through August 28th.
I'll just put a hold on that.
Lilac Park use request from Ramona Stenari to present live music Saturday, June 15th, 1 to 3 p.m. A letter is included in your packet.
Okay, so we'll vote on the consent agenda except for the one that was held. Do we get a second on?
Second.
Any further discussion on any of those items? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the only reason I put the thing on the Lilac Park request is I was hoping that Ken Fowler was going to be here tonight, but he's not. But I do want to sincerely thank him for all the effort. I mean, a lot of effort he puts into that. And, there's other people that help too, do a lot of work. But Kenny's there every single Wednesday night. He starts booking these bands in February, and it's just a fantastic little free show in the middle of town every week or every Wednesday night.
For 12 years.
For 12 years he's been doing it, yeah. So shout out to Kenny, and a big thank you for doing it, Kenny, and good luck with it.
Yes, sir. So,
Yep.
I move to accept the Lilac Park request from Ken Fowler.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
And thank you, Ken. Yes.
Okay, next, we have a public hearing with National Grid. So we're going to open a public hearing, then we'll hear from our representative from National Grid. So can I get a motion to open a public hearing?
So moved.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, just identify yourself and tell us what you're all up to.
Sure. My name is Donald Taggart. I'm with National Grid. I'm the engineer. I'm here to answer any questions for two poll petitions tonight. So, didn't know which one you guys want to start with first. I have one.
What the one down on Old Stockbridge Road? Just tell us
Old
what you're doing
Stockbridge
there. Didn't we go over this a short
I don't
time ago? I thought there was something about it. Maybe it's
It
changed a
feels
little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like we did, but it's okay.
I did, prior to this petition, I did call the Nina from the department, the
Public
highway
Works?
department.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did speak with Nina. I had to make sure that the other job on Church Street, this Church Street Walker Street over here at this intersection, I didn't know if the town had any clause for any road that was like recently paved after 5 year.
Hold that thought.
Okay, all right, sorry. Well, I guess we'll discuss about Old Stockbridge Road. So there is work that we need to do. There's a streetlight at Hawthorne Road and Old Stockbridge Road where we have to replace some of the conduit going to the one of the transformers that's feeding the house for 48. So we need to set a handhole on the frontage of their property because they're directly fed underneath the street to their house from the transformer that's on alongside the road. So in order for us to bring everything up to code, we, instead of them being fed the far side of the road directly to their house, National Grid is proposing for us to set a handhole on the frontage of their property as a mark of demarcation between company and customer. So if this is Old Stockbridge Road, and if there's a transformer on the far side of the road from where 48 is being served
Mhm.
from, they're directly, their service is directly under the road, being served directly from them. So we want to have a handhole so their service isn't directly crossing under the road. We want to
Keep it all on the left-hand side as you go down.
we want to have a market demarcate. The handhold would be a market demarcation because they're served that's their service under the road that's going to that transformer. So National Grid wants to own all the secondary under the road to handhold, and that handhold would be on their side of the road, and they'll connect to that instead of having their service directly connected under the road to transform on the far side. So
It's all down where Richie Capello used to
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
down there.
I thought we did this.
I thought we did this, we talked about this one other time, but, and we were happy with it last time, so.
I talked to someone prior, so that was I was told that this one of these petitions was being added on tonight, so this is kind of last minute notice.
Yeah.
I don't remember talking with anyone from board.
I think we've seen this before, and I think
Yeah, we okayed
we
it,
okayed it.
so we
I
can,
mean, it essentially gives you
Okay.
ability to help service 48 without dealing with, your equipment on the other side of the road.
I may have had another job for 55 Old Stockbridge Road. Maybe that's what. This is a long time ago. So maybe that's what you guys are referring to.
well, we know what you're doing on this one, so we'll
I just want to make sure we're going through the right channels,
Yeah.
doing everything the right
Yeah,
way. So
you are.
yeah. Thank you. And yeah,
Do we have to open and close these individually?
they're all under
Oh.
one.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, submitted simultaneously,
Okay.
same notice requirements, so.
So how about the Church Street one?
okay. For Church Street, this one is 35 Church Street. It's on the very corner right here, the intersection of Walker Street and Church Street. So this one was presented to me by our civil contractors, and they wanted to make sure that about the 5-year rule for a recently paved road in a town of
Well,
Lenox.
that's what raises the question, and we talked with our Department of Public Works people, and this summer, they're actually starting to work on that road now, and they're gonna break for the summer, and then they're doing the sidewalks starting in September.
Starting in
So
September.
it's-
Okay.
It's got to get done before,
Okay.
it can't be done after that, so I know it's hard for you, I don't know how much pressure you can put on whoever's doing it, but it's,
I would
like-
say, I mean, don't hold me to it, but I would say a couple months. So I don't- if you're saying September, depending on when our civil can get scheduled to trench under the road, I would say about 2 months for it just to get scheduled and.
so if it's 4 months, it's not gonna get done.
Just depends on how soon it can get scheduled with our civil contractors.
I'm trying to implore upon you that it's gotta get done.
Because you guys are starting.
Because we're
work
starting
on
it, and
Church
we
Street
want
now.
you to coordinate with Bill Gopp, our DPW superintendent, to make sure it gets done. We don't wanna tear up a sidewalk afterwards.
Yeah, okay, alright. If anything, I think our I can communicate this with our civil contractors. They can, whatever trenching, like, let's say, the time frame takes longer, I think they can, trench under the road too. I
Yeah,
don't think they have to
push
cut,
it. Yeah,
I don't think they have to cut the finished road, whatever it could be. I think they could dig under it too, so. But I've already, as an engineer, I've already had this designed, and I just needed to get a civil cost, so this was presented to me, hey, Town of Lenox has a clause for
Yeah.
the 5-year rule,
yeah,
so,
I understand, you're just here
Yeah.
doing the presentation, or getting the permits, but
yeah.
pass that on to the other people that have the say.
So
If you
Church
can.
Street, the whole road to Church Street will be paved, in September.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
We
2025.
don't know if it's September, basically.
This year.
This year.
There's
Okay.
sewer and sidewalk work going on now, but it has to cease on, I think, June 30th.
Yeah, that's when
And
they
then-
plan on, yeah.
The contractor stops because it's the busy season and then restarts, I think.
September
September
1, about then for the
Yeah,
sidewalk
and
part.
basically the contractor will probably be up against the clock to get all the repaving done
By winter,
by cold season.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I would say about like fall 2024 is like a general, but hopefully they can get whatever trenching done sooner than that.
Yeah.
I would think they would, because now is it's about to be June.
Yeah,
So
well, I'm sure they can all
till the
work
whole summer.
together once they get on the same page with each other.
Yeah. So I mean, design wise on my end, like I could have it already pushed on my end, and just it's just up to the clock ticking of when it gets to scheduling.
Yeah,
in that
I
aspect,
think as
so.
long as the civil contractor that's doing the work, our DPW superintendent and you all coordinate, the contractor probably has, room to move things here and there, to
Yeah.
make sure that accommodate you being able to get your work done.
yeah,
So in my head, I would just think, just communicate with all the departments in my company, like, hey, this needs to be done ASAP, because the town is expecting to have their digging done, or have their paving done by fall 2025, September, so.
yeah, they know how it
Sure.
works. I mean, this happens all the time.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
All right. Is that, everybody hear everything they
I
need
think we're good.
to hear?
Sir. Second one, like, can't stress enough, communication between everybody, and I think, it's pretty standard procedure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, everybody's gotta work together. You know how it is.
I do.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
So we'll get a motion to close.
So,
Oh,
Mr.
I'm
Chairman, I move to approve, to
Or
close
close-
the public
close it.
hearing.
Second?
All's in favor?
Aye. So, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the two applications for installation of underground facilities on Walker Street and Old Stockbridge Road, both dated May 10th, 2024.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, go get them.
Good to go.
Thanks. Robbie, you came in a little bit late, and it's a real short meeting, but, whatever, you got something, yeah.
Easy.
Yeah,
It's easy and
yeah,
fast.
yeah.
You wanna turn that off or turn it?
Oh, no, you're gonna be on, you're gonna be filmed.
Alright, so I was gonna send this to you, but then I decided to come talk to you about it. So I'm Robbie Bianco, and I live at 39 Golden Hill Road in Lenoxdale. So on Thursday, when you had Weston and Sampson
Yeah.
come talk here, I went ahead and went to the HRI talk with Mark Hermanson, who's the environmental chemist. So do you know who? Okay, so I went to that talk because I was really interested. He had gone and toured the UDF. So he spoke at the community center. He spoke about the UDF, and he really just spoke in terms of his scientific or his experience, and kept all the personality stuff out of it, which was really great. So the key takeaways were things that I had already expressed to you after I had gone to the EPA GE meeting, was that, an old gravel pit is not an acceptable site, and largely because of the aquifer. And he basically said that there was really no way that they could guarantee that even with the 5 layers of some permeable and some unpermeable layers, that there wasn't going to be some sort of leakage. So that was one thing that we all know about and we've talked about. But the thing that really got me, and it's something I brought to your attention, it was the air quality. Apparently the GE isn't required in the decree that they signed to monitor the air quality. And Weston and Sampson also brought that up in their reply to them. He said, and this is what Mark Hermanson had said, that in the transportation of this, there's always an opportunity that PCBs will escape into the atmosphere. PCBs move readily into the atmosphere, and in various documents, they had talked about that they would measure any kind of airborne PCBs by, I think it was 1,000 nanograms instead of hundreds of nanograms per cubic meter. So he talked, and I was taking notes very quickly, but then I went back and reread the article in The Edge, and Mr. Hermanson recommends that 3 nanograms per cubic meter should be the measurement of aerosolized PCBs. And he said they should be monitoring that air quality now and throughout the process, and that we actually should have an emergency plan in place to respond to dangerous levels of PCBs in the air. So he went on to describe that there are 209 different PCB conjugars with chlorine. It's a chemical chain, and they bind with the chlorine. So I did not know that there were 209. He said depending on that conjugar, that it would be hard to, some people threw out, well, why can't they do the thermo, whatever it is, to degrade them, and they can't because of these chemical chains. He said they're not even sure how many of those 209 are in the Housatonic River, but he said he does know specifically that PCB4 and PCB5 have been found in the Housatonic River. Because of their low numbers, so that number, as I said, it goes up to 209. The lower the number, the more highly toxic and highly volatile they are, which means they will easily aerosolize. He said especially on a hot day, PCBs will aerosolize, and he said no tarp, no bungee cord, no tight seal can prevent them from escaping. He said they'll just get out in the atmosphere. He said children, because they oxygenate more than adults, are at a higher risk for breathing in PCB airborne airborne particulates than adults are, and particularly the smaller than 10 picograms, which is, the picogram is what he referred to as how they should measure them. He also said, and this was really startling, that there are currently no PDEs, there's no full-face respiratory vapor and particulate filtration mask that can filter out or protect from inhaling PCBs. So he said, while all the workers will have to wear full gear, there's really no mask that they can wear to protect them from PCBs. So it's pretty much everything I wrote to you in that email.
Yeah, we agree, it's very technical stuff that you and I don't understand.
Right.
And that's why I said
Well, I understand it better now.
You understand it better now.
I understand it a lot
Now, let me
better
ask you this,
now.
Robbie. This has been submitted to EPA? Did all this information
So
on the
he
comment
brought-
period?
From them?
Yeah.
So his role is, he's a technical advisor to the Housatonic River Association. So how TAG works is GE was mandated to provide a technical advisor through the EPA, and it's the EPA's technical advisory grant that the Housatonic River Initiative applied for and received. So he advises, what he does is what Weston and Sampson is doing, and whoever Lee hired. He's going through the pile of paper and he's trying to decipher, he's going through it and looking at all their proposals and all the paper and looking at it in terms of his expertise and what he's experienced in other toxic sites that he's worked on and advised on. So he cannot, he can't make recommendations. He can only tell them from his expertise whether, like he said, there's no way that the 7 layers or 5 layers.
So that information is being communicated with
That
EPA.
has been communicated, as far as I know, with the
Yeah.
EPA. The reason why I'm here, but go ask it.
Well, I was just gonna say, were you at that Lee High School meeting? So the EPA there was talking about they were gonna be doing the air monitoring. And they had done it at other sites. I don't remember if they discussed what the actual calibrated number they were looking for was?
It was that 1,000.
It was a
It
little less
was-
than that, because they talked about how on the trucking routes, they hadn't hit the 10 they were measuring for it was somewhere on the Hudson, where they had measured the transportation route there, and had never gotten above 10.
But they aren't measuring it here.
They said they would be. They would be in
So-
charge of monitoring for airborne particulate.
So when he went to visit that site, they have a weather station installed, but they have no air quality control measuring going on right now.
My understanding was the EPA would be putting that in once the transportation began. That if they're
That's really, I'm gonna follow up on that, because it didn't sound like it, and if you go into the article in the Edge, it doesn't sound like it either. But
May I
then-
interject?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna talk about any of the technical issues because of my conflict of interest, but anything that you wanna tell us, I mean, really you should be writing to Dean Taliaferro, EPA,
oh, I
and
have.
uploading it to the
I
website,
have.
because there's not something that we
So let me-
separately
all
do
right,
here.
So let me finish. So my last sentence is, I'm asking the Lenox Board of Selectors, what's the timing for establishing a Lenox PCB advisory committee to help us get ahead of these, to give us a liaison to talk with, or to, whether it's Weston and Sampson, whether it's the EPA. So it's not 12 of us, or actually there was probably 30 people from Lenox at that meeting asking questions, and it feels like we don't have what do I want to say? We don't have a group, well, we don't have a group of citizens.
You know, you're right, we're not all on
we
the same
talked about
page.
it.
We're not, we should be together on this. And
Yes.
that would be a much better thing if we were together on it. We need to work on that between all of us to
Yeah.
make that better, because the more eyes that are on this, the
Well, and
the better it's gonna be.
And Max, I think I saw you there, and I was, and again, it was one of those meetings where I was
Yeah.
trying to take notes and ask questions. I totally missed that.
It was the
Because
lead
I
woman. She interjected at one point to talk about that. And she had talked about the amount
Yeah.
of readings they had picked up, and I think it was on the Hudson.
Yeah, but they're
Um,
not obligated to, right, GE isn't obligated
Not
to
she, it's
do
not, I
it.
think EPA is.
So the EPA is?
is,
I'm
yes.
gonna- Okay, that's really good. Well, anyway, that's
again,
really,
What I'm saying is, we can clarify this better, but when you talk about advisory committee, that's why the town hired Weston and Sampson, because they're one of the worldwide experts in PCB and other types of remediation. If I was able to talk about it, I probably could lend some technical expertise, but I'm conflicted. But other than that, these folks don't have that technical knowledge, which is why we hired experts. So comments, what we should probably do is make it clear that people who want to supply comments can deliver them, can give them to Weston and Sampson.
so, Neil, I understand that, and I have been, right from the beginning, I'm sending comments to the EPA, I'm sending them directly there, but I'm concerned about the people in Lenox, especially in all of us that are within a couple of miles of that site, that we don't have to wait necessarily for Weston and Sampson to say, this is what we recommend, or this is what we're gonna send into the EPA, and it gets put on our website like barely a week before, sometimes it's the day before, it's a draft, we don't know if it's gonna be what they really send or not. I think if we had a citizens committee that could involve more citizens, I feel like we need, not just me, I'm 71 years old, in 15 years or in 20 years when this is said and done, I'm not gonna care about it. But I care about your grandchildren and the next generation and the generation after that. I really care about our community and the environment, and I wanna have more younger citizens of Lenox involved in not only giving feedback now in the comments about how this is going to run, but how are we going to handle it? What are we going to do? What is our response going to be if there's some sort of toxic situation where we have to evacuate students from the high school, from a playing field. You know, it might seem far-fetched right now, but it's not so far-fetched.
And that's what I was trying to stress. Weston Sampson, and maybe we need to make this more clear or have a better link on the website, they're available for you to reach out to and say what you've just said to us. They're not just there to work, you know, on work plans and whatnot. We tried to say that they are the person for the public who have concerns to reach out to.
Is there a way that, and maybe this could be a discussion for another time, but maybe they should be available not a week before something, but on a more ongoing basis? Because that wasn't my understanding. I thought they were going through the technical papers and then just submitting to you, here's our recommendations on how you should reply to the EPA. So I guess I misunderstood their role.
Yeah, well,
They're available to,
they're not entirely, but their role has been to help us as we need assistance, technical assistance. We could expand that. We do have we have it's just when we need them.
We're done with the engagements to date, but
We can use them whenever we want. We still have money left plenty of money left to do that, to engage them when we need them. But I guess the conduit would be, or the way would be to go through us at town hall to contact them.
so I'm saying,
Yeah.
wouldn't it, it
Yeah.
just seems to me like.
We gotta work on it,
we
Robbie.
should, I mean, you've talked about it,
Yeah.
you mentioned it at the town meeting, we talked about it at another meeting, that we would have an advisory committee, and it doesn't seem like it's happening. So that was my question, because
Okay,
this
your
was,
point's well taken. and
this
we
was
gotta work on
a
that.
very
Yeah.
startling conversation with this gentleman.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know.
and
He
it
laid-
wasn't
he laid a lot out there.
anecdotal.
I read it.
Yeah,
I did read it, so.
yeah, it was
get it.
just very factual.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here.
All right.
Thank you.
Make a comment? Stay there, please. No, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with an awful lot of it, but one thing for sure is, I'm sure you know, but I want to point out that 4 members here are within a mile of that proposed facility.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're living, 10 miles away, but we are concerned, continuously concerned. So, I mean, don't think that your comments are falling on deaf ears, because we do live there. So, what we need to do is have our comfort. We need to demonstrate that our comfort is something that's real and not fictitious. We listen to what you say, we listen to what the experts say, and then we form our own opinions. But we are concerned because of our locations to that place.
It's very scary.
It is.
Yep,
Okay.
it's a real thing, Robbie. Thank you.
Yeah, okay,
right.
thank you.
Just out of curiosity, as the new guy here, what is the process to form a citizens committee? Is that something they do, or is that something we appoint?
I don't know, it'd be
I
up
don't
to
know.
us to figure that out.
Because I would say, I imagine that firm works on an hourly basis. I don't know if they want citizens just calling up every 10 minutes with questions and suggestions and
Yeah,
whatever else
that-
will bankrupt the
that's
town.
Yeah,
Then
no.
you run into problems. It can't be a town committee, because then they have to post meetings and they have to do all that other stuff. As a citizens committee can form itself, can't it?
That's
Maybe
all
they
true,
maybe
but
they
I
should
don't
be a
think,
town
I don't
committee.
think that was the ask. I think the ask was.
Maybe it should
for-
be a town committee, a temporary committee that is,
I think the most important thing is that it be productive. I mean, quite frankly, I see a lot of groups that some that even towns form that, frankly,
but that's on the onus of the committee.
add a lot of volume, and add a lot of volume, but without adding any value to the discussion, and that would be a concern.
I agree, but I mean, the onus then is on the chair of that committee to ensure those committees are effective, and I'm happy to be the liaison to it, and then speak to it, be able to say, look, we can't have 400 hours of meetings and come back with the same information.
And I'm sorry that Robbie left, but if she were here, I would point out, I mean, we've said that monitoring should be independent, right?
I won't speak
Yeah,
to
you,
this.
right. Everyone
I won't
except
speak
Neil
to
has
this-
said
I won't
monitoring
speak
should
to
be
this-
independent.
Well, no, I won't speak to this project, but, you know, in my experience on having done projects like this, it's mandatory that it's independent.
So it's not the EPA that monitors it? Don't they have a role?
Typically, EPA will monitor something, and they will also hire an independent testing firm, monitoring firm.
Yeah. So,
I'm certain that was talked about at that meeting at Lee.
yeah, so.
I mean, I think citizens can form any kind of collective group that they want. You know, but I think then, you know, then, I don't think, I didn't mean to imply that Weston and Sams should have a 1-800 number every day when someone reads something and wants to ask questions. But at least if people have concerns that they feel that haven't been addressed or whatnot, there should be a collector of those comments
Certainly.
and then a conduit to the experts.
Yeah, I'm also, I'm troubled with all these conversations, like, oh, so what is the solution then? Right, I mean, we just heard you can't move it. EPA and federal regs say you can't leave it. We just heard that you can't burn it. I mean, at some point, you have to have a solution.
Everybody is terribly frustrated with this
Everyone's
whole
terribly
process.
frustrated.
And it's even more frustrating that any answers from EPA or GE take so long to get.
Right.
And then it's just in a draft form and they gotta go back and work it over again. I mean,
Or
it's,
comments.
or comments, and nothing seems to, you know, and that's why I worry about having a group, because they would just spin their wheels and get frustrated and throw out things that, it's a terribly frustrating method that we have to deal with here.
It is, but I think if it's a large group of citizens that wanna have a committee, give them a committee, and if it's, and just give it a temporary, whatever, 12-month, whatever, I'm sure you can put a timeline on it, and then reapprove it in a year or whatever, if it's delayed or what have you, but if it gets them, if that's the way for them to compile all their ideas, have someone have the chair to boil it down, and we pass it along, or tell them how great it is, okay? I don't know how much effect it's going to have, I don't think. I mean, everyone, I'm sure, most everyone in the town, I'm sure, filled out forms on the EPA website. I'll be curious to see how much of an impact that has.
Sounds like you're volunteering to be a,
I mean, if that's what it takes.
which is
I'm happy to
great.
do
I
it,
mean, that's
but
great, yeah.
I share your thoughts of what it will probably have the potential to bog down into, but
Well, again, I'll just talk about projects that have nothing to do with this project, but EPA regulates, they mandate that a firm hire their own engineers to design things, then they pitch that up to EPA for approval. And then, in many cases, the affected community hires an independent engineering firm to look out for their interests. And, you know, on projects going back 30 years, sometimes citizens just act on their own and are highly opposed. I've been on projects where people have, you know, handcuffed themselves to the gate of the project, you know, kind of stuff. And then I've also been on projects where it's been effective because there's not just a million ideas being thrown up
Right.
scatterbrained, but they're through one conduit to an engineering firm who can then, you know, assess the idea and present it to the EPA or make the comment as opposed to a million. Unfortunately, environmental projects are kind of like what we went through with cell phones. There's just differing opinions about, you know, there's experts that say PCBs volatilize, there's experts that say they don't. You know, it's kind of like you can't convince one side that your side's right and vice versa, so it's.
There's gotta be some middle ground somewhere. Well, okay, so keep thinking about it, Max.
okay. So what is the process of forming a town committee?
Well, any of us
If
can go take a look at the special act. I'll certainly do that. I believe the language certainly enables the town manager. I believe it also enables the board to, from time to time, establish groups to advise them
But I don't think they should, are you saying advise us?
I'm telling you what I believe. I want to go back and read it for certain, but I believe that is how the special act reads for our structure.
But we have to be careful. We're gonna have a group, it's gotta be relatively open-minded and not just, can't come in and rant and rave every 2 weeks. You know, it's gotta be constructive and get something done.
Yeah.
Can't be rehashing up the same thing.
No, you gotta, you know, I wanna, you know, have something positive for what's happening in the future, but you're right, you can't rehash the past. It is what it is. We have to,
Well, I'm all for listening to the ideas. I mean, I'm all for people involved to be hearing the ideas, but I don't know that advising us is gonna help. What do we, you know, then how do we interpret which is right and which is wrong? Which is why I keep pointing to form an advisory committee, but share your concerns with someone that knows what they're talking about, as opposed to people that don't.
yeah, it's
make
tricky,
sense?
Max.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think whatever group that is eventually formed, whether that's a citizens, independent, or a town committee, the whole point of it is just to distill the information into something that's not 7,000 pages of 400 people's different opinion. It's here are 5 points that we really all agree are the most important. Who do we get this to? Oh, great, send that over to Sampson and send that over to EPA, and wonderful. We read your comments. You know, we're happy to sign our name as a select board to your suggestions, and off we go.
If it's done that way, it's fine.
And whether that, I don't know what the most effective ways for that is, if that's a local, if what they're doing now, which is making ad hoc meetings and on their own and then sharing ideas, I don't know.
I think you want a super articulate.
Chair.
Well, yes, yeah, right, super articulate chair, but also a super articulated vision and purpose statement for exactly what it is you want.
What you wanna get out of this.
What you want to
Yeah.
get out of it. I think that you know, you'll want to put some meat on that bone.
Yeah,
I mean, we haven't really seen it done successfully. I think that's what I'm struggling with. I mean, if I could step outside of myself for a second,
Please.
just, you know, say, you know, I think that, you know, my knee-jerk reaction is to say, yes, that's exactly what, but where have you seen it done constructively? I have yet to see it done
Yeah.
constructively. And I wouldn't want to, you know, just make the same mistake as everyone else.
yeah. It certainly isn't gonna be simple. All right, well, we work on it. I know that got way off our
That's new
top
business.
of anything, that's new business, but it was a good discussion for all of us to have, so that's fine.
So at 5 after 6, we talked about concerts in the park?
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
I apologize for being late. You guys are on a different schedule than we used to be, and I didn't realize that. So I rushed out of the house and left my dinner. So let me start off by saying, is this your last meeting?
No.
No.
Okay, good. Then we don't have to
I
go on.
got two more.
You got two more? Okay, good. All right, so 2024 marks the 15th anniversary of Concerts in the Park.
Jeez, I was wrong, I was
Yeah, you
off.
got that wrong.
You were off?
I was at 12.
Yeah.
Oh, no. No, it was the year after Roscoe left the board. That was the first year. And I
So you
took
weren't a selectman then?
I was a selectman because he had left the board. I took his seat. So, is that 15 years ago? Let's call it 15. If it's not.
Either way, it's been a lot. This
Long
has been
time.
It's a lot of years.
Fantastic.
Okay, it's more than
I
a
want
dozen.
to figure this out.
So
Send that
this year I went ahead and scheduled 10 concerts. I normally do 9 now, but I had a band that I couldn't refuse, so I added an extra one. And what I'm looking for is permission to use the park beginning on June 26th, running every Wednesday thereafter until August 28th. These are free concerts to the public due to the generous sponsorship of our local businesses. I also need to have permission, in case of rain, I'd like to schedule the concert for Sunday afternoon at 2:30. And this is in agreement with the Chamber of Commerce. They don't start anything until September in the park, or they do it on other days in the park. And I think they do stuff around town during the summer. So we've got a good relationship. And just so people understand, the concerts start at 6:30, and they run until 8 o'clock, so that's 90 minutes. If we schedule for Sunday, because of rain, it starts at 2:30. And if you don't mind me, ham-handing going into plugging things, I'm going to thank our sponsors, because without them, I'd be coming to you for money. So Adams Community Bank, Allegroni Construction, Sure Design, Lenox Fit, Glad Rags, Martin Law Offices PC, Heller and Robbins PC, the McNitch family, and that has an asterisk, and Susan and Michael Albert, and Margie and Lou Steinberg. And the reason why the McNitch family has an asterisk is because they are sponsoring the July 3rd concert, which is Happy Together, which is a 60s cover band. And that concert will be in memory of Suzanne McNitch. It's a nice thing for them to do. So the concert starting on June 26th is Lewis and Ide. July 3rd is Happy Together. July 10th, Lady Diana Dukes. July 17th, Misbehavin'. July 24th, the Amy Ryan Band. July 31st, Wanda Houston and the HBH Band featuring Charlie Tokars. August 7th is the Pug and John Show. August 14th is Matchstick Architects. August 21st is Sold Out, featuring Joanne Redding and Ed Moran. And closing the season on the 28th of August is the BTUs. And I would like to thank Kim Flynn, who has raised funds this year, as well as she does the MC work for us. CTSB for coverage of the park concerts. Lenox DPW for the job that they do in keeping that park so beautiful. And it wouldn't happen without Pignatelli Electric for their technical assistance. And I also want to thank the select board. I don't know if you guys get enough thanks for what you do. You don't get checks, right? You get thanks. Right?
We keep asking, Chris. but
That was
he keeps
15 years ago.
You used to get checks.
That was 15 years ago, remember?
That was quite a while ago,
According to
before I
some
came on,
citizens,
that's
we
for
still
sure.
do.
Anyway, so if you would, I'd like that permission, and then I'll leave you alone.
Well, Kenny,
We already voted it.
we.
You already did?
Yeah,
Well, that's what I get for being late.
yeah.
Well, but
My
I
point.
think I'd add that we enthusiastically thanked you while you weren't here for doing this, and that we think it's a phenomenal program, and we happily voted yes to your request.
Well, thank you.
Well, that takes the thunder out of you watching the rerun of this
Yeah.
program, but yes, Neil's absolutely right.
And did I fail to mention CTSB is there every
No,
week?
no, no.
And they record.
You're doing
they
good, you're doing good.
They record them. And so that means that if you miss one, you can watch it, you can stream it off their website. I think it's 1301 ctsbtv.org. So again, thank you guys. I hope that I brought a little bit of levity to the evening. I know you guys have important things to do. Is there anything else? Any questions?
No, I mean,
That's
it's
good.
phenomenal, and, as an aside, I've been to probably at least half of them several summers in a row, and it's phenomenal. I mean,
When I read the list,
the
I
park is
I
just
can't believe I'm
packed.
doing
It's
that.
packed.
It's packed.
It's amazing.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Keep doing it.
People are all the way down the lawn,
Yeah.
and then they're standing up along the road, because it's so full, so it's a very popular thing.
It is. It's gained popularity over the years. I think people have come to depend on it, and it was a great idea. Just in case anybody wants to know, it was my son's idea originally, Damon, and he brought it to the select board back then, and it was shot down. Yes, it was. Well,
Wow.
my son was in his 20s at the time, and I think there was some concerns about having a mosh pit in Lilac Park.
There was a lot going on.
That might not fit well. But somewhere between that and some of the other music choices that followed, We try to do something that appeals to the most people that we can.
Hmm.
So we have what is sometimes called adult alt. I don't have any jazz this year, which is unfortunate, but, next year. Any questions? No?
I'm good.
All right.
Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Go get your
Thank you
dinner.
for your service to the town.
Thank
And I'll see you later.
Thanks, Ken.
Okay. So, with that, we'll say our next regular meeting is June 12th, if I can get a motion to adjourn.
Oh, no, I got something to say.
What is that?
That was part of the consent agenda.
Oh, okay, great, yeah. Oh,
So
yes.
I just wanted to thank everybody who braved the threat of bad weather, showed up at the Memorial Day Parade. It was a success. We had a wonderful guest speaker who was our own member, Dr. Craig Kirby. And the VFW wants to again thank the town and town manager, Chris Ketchum, for all they've done for the support that they've received over the years. So hopefully we'll be able to put one more together next year.
Oh, you better.
Even better, even better. So thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything? With that, a motion to adjourn?
So
Second.
moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.